Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live stream. My name is Felipe Engineer-Manriquez. I'm joined today by my good friend, Mr. Jesse Hernandez.
Yeah, baby. What's going on, Felipe? What's going on, people? Happy to be here, my man.
Man, it is so good to have you here, Jesse. What a great topic we have today. Let's just jump right in. We already got people hitting us up on the chat. That's right, Spencer. Yes. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, we got the energy, man. We're ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Today's topic, Jesse, is a question that we get asked all the time. Before we get into that, let's be polite and say a little something about ourselves for all the beautiful people out there in the world listening to the show. And since I'm the host, you get to go first, Jesse.
Well, thank you very much, Felipe. So beautiful, amazing, sexy people out there. My name is Jesus Hernandez. Most people know me as Jesse. And because you're giving us some of your precious time, you can call me Jesse, Chewy, or Jesus, all of the above. I am a lean maniac, a lean addict, for the purpose of helping your day suck less. I'm a plumber by trade, so you might be able to pick up on that when I get to talking. I'm pretty casual, and you can count on me being a little inappropriate. That's me.
Oh man, I love that. We've got plenty of people exercising their ability to use the chat, which I absolutely love. We highly encourage that. Jesse and I love the engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, again, let's welcome Jesse one more time. Jesse, you're awesome, man. Thank you for coming on here. My name is Felipe Engineer-Manriquez. That is my long, lovely name. It's not a hyphen. It's not a middle name. Coincidentally, I might be an engineer. Just that's a coincidence. Put that aside. I work for a large general contractor, McCarthy. Building is just something that I love to do. And by all of my time and energy devoted, as I like to tell my child, my whole life, Jesse, I've been working to make things better. Like you're going to let's make it suck less.
Yes.
I want to make it easier, better for construction. Hence the EBFC show. This is the show. And that's the title of the show. The show comes out every 2 weeks. We just had a beautiful show drop yesterday. Jesse is on a podcast, Learnings and Missteps. Jesse, when does that show drop for people?
So the show, right now, we're having a show drop every Wednesday. And so there's a mix. We have a collabo session between my hermano, my brother, Felipe, and I. We're both doing a collaboration discussion around a phenomenal book that's making big impact in our industry, which is The Lean Builder. So check that out. And then on the other weeks, I get the opportunity to interview the amazing men and women that have built careers in our industry. And so we've got another one coming out next Wednesday. Check it out. And like Felipe said, we love the interaction. We love the feedback. And me, secretly, I'm very needy and I love attention. So please give me some attention.
Oh man, you must be channeling my inner side because I'm getting some love from the audience. Leanne saying, "Go, Felipe." My good friend Leanne that I just saw last week. So good to see you here on LinkedIn of all places, Leanne. Thank you for dropping by. And if anybody in the audience knows Jesse, feel free to give him some love too. We'll bring those comments and questions forward. Oh my God. Jesse, I mean, you and I are just like, we pour it out and we get asked questions all the time about our experiences. You coming with that trade perspective, even though I know you've been working as a general contractor for a while. So I'm just going to call you out. I'm going to call you out right now. From one general contractor to another. We're starting this on Clubhouse this morning. You missed it. We're doing #NoShameGC. We wanted to start that this morning to let people know it's okay. It's a value-added, admirable career.
Yes.
Leading the work. It's good. And we love trade partners. And why, before we go into answering the question, which we will, let me just preview what that question is. The question that we're going to answer today is, how do you get started with lean? Before we even start there, Jesse, what is your attitude towards trade partner versus subcontractor, just the language.
Man, oh man, you always like to get me stirred up. Here's my idea, thought, thinking that I want to help people approach it in a more man, what's the word? Just a more humble manner. You can use the words trade partners, but if you're not treating us like partners, you're just moving your mouth. Now, I will say that using the words, using the language is a step in the right direction. But just calling me a trade partner and not valuing what we can bring to the table, not listening to our ideas and taking into account the problems that we're surfacing, guess what? I'm still a subcontractor. You just put a new wrapper around me. That's my thoughts, Felipe.
Absolutely. And I just want to give, there's the love from Spencer for you, my friend. He said, you got to do more podcasts. Even more, Jesse.
10-4.
Jesse, the people have spoken. You got to give them what you want. So let's dive into our topic. The question for today is, how do I get started with lean? So I'm gonna start, Jesse, because I nerded out and I prepared, as you know I always do. I scrum the whole thing, Jesse. So everyone who's got money on how long would it take for me to say scrum, it was 6 minutes, and you just got paid. But this book is how I got started with lean over a decade ago. I don't even remember what year it was. I think it was like closer to 12 years now. So I get this book, Jesse. It gets kind of put in my hand as I was strongly encouraged to read a book when I was working 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. And the person was the coolest person to put the pressure on me. They're like, I don't care if you read this. That instantly got my attention. I was like, okay, I'm paying attention now. Like, you don't even care. And so they said, we've got a group of people that get together and we talk about ideas that we're borrowing from lean manufacturing and other places. And if you'd like to join the group, you've got to read this book. And I was like, ooh, that was I've talked about on some other podcasts, but I just want to celebrate. That was one of my earlier mentors, Michael. So just thank you for that, Michael. And one of the cool things of this book, it's a series of case studies, Jesse, because you know how people are. We're skeptical.
Oh, yeah. We need the numbers. We need the numbers.
Every time I hear the word case study, I'm always like,
yeah.
And I always forget that it worked on me. Why wouldn't it work on somebody else? Mm-hmm. The 3 big, powerful ideas in chapter 1 of this beautiful book, which is available on Audible. And I get no money from Jim Womack, just FYI, nor do I get money from Daniel T. Jones. But this has been a game changer. 3 big ideas, 3 questions. The 3 questions that got me started was first understanding what is value added, and then what is non-value added but necessary, and then finally what's non-value added pure waste. And a lot of you are like, God, that's just so obvious. Like, it's actually not obvious.
Right.
Let's go reverse order first. So if I'm listening to this live stream, Jesse, or if you call me, and yes, Darlene, it's absolutely, you're going to get more of this, guaranteed. Thank you for the comment, Darlene. We appreciate you. And yeah, I'm feeling the yay on this.
Yay.
Absolutely. You've got to get some capacity first.
Yes.
One of the easiest ways, Jesse, I know to get some capacity is to stop doing certain things. And the things that I'd stop doing the things in red. So if you think about a stoplight, like a stoplight just stops you dead in your tracks. And I just want to plug a beautiful collaboration session that Jesse and I did that he's got live on his website right now. If you look in the description link for this live stream, you'll find a link to Jesse's podcast webpage where you'll find myself and Jesse talking about the 8 wastes in construction from the Lean Builder. When you stop doing those 8 things, you're going to gain hours back on your day. And so I want to just pause right here, Jesse. What's a waste that you've walked away from and stopped doing, either yourself personally or a team, that's increased your capacity, giving you more time to do more of what you want?
The one waste, I'll say the one that I'm really focused on right now is internally for me is excess or extra processing.
Mm.
And the reason it's really super relevant right now is because, like you mentioned, the last Learnings and Missteps podcast, we're about 9 months into it, and me getting super hyperactive on social media, that's a new development. And it's very easy for me to get caught up in perfection and editing and tweaking and adding volume, like just editing the living hell out of it, which absolutely equates to excess processing.
Right.
And so if you listen to like episode 0 of our podcast, you can tell that I finally said, okay, I've got to cut the cord because I'm going to be here for 16 hours editing this episode and just put it out there. And the thinking behind that was, I'm going to put it out there because I need to figure out what the customer, what the person that I'm intending to serve, what they value and what they respond to. Because if I'm stuck in my head trying to polish the hell out of this turd without knowing what people care about or value, I'm spinning my damn wheels. And so I'm working on carrying that lesson from episode 0 up to now every day when I'm cutting snippets and whatever, because I have to sleep. Like, I wish I didn't, but I have to sleep, What do you think about that?
I think you're at the top of the class right there, that you have to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse, I'm with you on the same page on the have to sleep. I found out through my coach, shout out to Rex Miller, who's totally helping me up my game, my business game. Love you, Rex. He got me turned on to this Whoop strap because I was journaling my sleep, Jesse, and like so many other people, I was being way too optimistic on how much actual sleep I was getting.
Yes.
Once I got scientific on myself, then I couldn't look Rex in the eyes and tell him that it was suboptimal.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he said, "Let me see the dashboard, Felipe." I was like, "Oh, it's game over now."
Yeah, like, we don't need to talk. Show me the data.
But on that same note, Jesse, with you, once I got real about something beneficial, like not doing too much, like I don't need to take this thing to the nth degree. I'm the same way with how I work with my show and the love the team on the EBFC show. All of you, hope some of you are listening today. Thank you, making it all look so seamless and beautiful. Appreciate you all. But I was able to kind of back off a little bit, like you learned, and then get my rest. And the next day, my creativity is just next level.
Yes.
Like well-rested me, so much better than crabby, not rested me.
Yes.
Yeah,
so let me ask you this. When you're well-rested, because I think you and I have a similar energy, and so we appreciate and feed off of that. So that's kind of a little bit of a warning for y'all that are getting to meet us for the first time.
I mean, hold on one second. Pause for a second, Jesse.
Yeah.
That's absolutely correct. You and I have the same energy.
Yeah, baby. So watch out, because we gonna bring it, baby. Now, how often after you've had a good night's rest and did your morning routine of exercise and hydrating and meditating, all that wonderful stuff, how often do you show up and people are like, "Whoa, bro, back it off"? You ever have that happen to you?
Oh my God, Jesse, that's like every time I go to work.
Yep.
People are like, you're like at a 12 right now. You should come back down to like about an 8.
Yep.
Like, I broke the 8 off on my dial. It only goes from 12 to 20. Yes. There's no like 10 and less. And I know, Jesse, every time I talk to you, you're like somewhere around a 13 or 15.
Yeah. I try to
trigger you about we could start talking about production and estimates, and I'll get you over. But people will see the Jesse at the 20.
Yes.
Yeah. So people, first place to start before you go learning anything else, like let go of something. Let go of something. Stop doing something that's of not value to you. Jesse and I just both shared some personal, what's not valuable to us, like taking something and polishing it beyond what's needed for polish. It's not good for us, and none of the people that depend on us need that. So
Right.
perfectionism has its place. It just doesn't have its place inside of me.
You did 10-4 on that.
Right. And then if you could bring it down, you can still deliver value. Hello, you can still be valuable, but just bring it down. Now you've just gained, let's say that you just stop over processing for half an hour. That's 30 minutes. Now you can do something else. You could spend it with me and Jesse. Hello, that's totally value added.
Value add, baby.
100%. And there are more wastes than just excess processing, like we talked about. There's also one of the worst ones in construction, Jesse, is waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like everybody in construction has to wait. People in design have to wait for decisions to be made so they can continue working on what they love and spending that creativity, like our good friend Darlene is listening. Yay, Darlene. Yeah, we feel you. We feel your designer's heart, and you just want to create. And we encourage that. And we know that you're not giving the construction team what they need because you gain joy in just holding it back. We know that you just draw, forever if you could.
Mm-hmm.
So that waiting is one. So if you're a decision maker or you're somebody that's got people depending on you, if you can help reduce their waiting, that'll reduce your waiting, and that just makes it better for everybody. And those are just two great examples. There are more, but I don't want to dive into so many. The point is, stop doing things that aren't valuable to you first, and then to the people receiving your work.
Yep. And there's a tripping point there that I want to surface for people, because it's really not, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, especially in interpersonal or professional relationships. But it can be coming back to the table to understand the conditions of satisfaction. Instead of guessing and polishing, have the conversation. Right. And be clear, like, hey, I need 30 more minutes of sleep because I want to roll like Felipe in the morning or whatever. And maybe you may find that you're delivering a degree of value that is not appreciated or needed. And I'm sure, I bet there's some people listening right now that have submitted some immaculate work that they were extremely proud of, that they lost sleep over, that they woke up at 3 a.m. to complete. And when they turned it in, they got the typical thank you. And then you said, well, what the hell? I just put my heart and soul into it. That's an example of excess processing, but rooted in not being clear on the conditions of satisfaction. And so go back to the table and have that conversation so that you can put your energy elsewhere.
Absolutely. Now you're going to make decisions on where to put your energy. That brings me to the next point. Let's throw back on here on the screen here, Jesse, for folks. The next area that I learned from the Lean Thinking book, the next genius, yet super obvious, but it wasn't so obvious. After I read it, I was all like, oh my God, it's been there all along and I just didn't realize it. And that's non-value added, but necessary. Mm-hmm. And just like in the traffic light system, it's not quite red, but it's definitely not green.
Yes. And that doesn't mean step on it.
It doesn't mean blow through. Absolutely not. That's right, Jesse. So that next step is another category of looking at your work when you're starting off with lean construction, where you want to reduce it down as much as possible. It's not going to go away to zero. It's one of those necessary evils, is a good synonym phrase for non-value added but necessary. It's something that must be done because some higher power is compelling you to do it. But if you had the choice, you definitely wouldn't.
Yep.
It's kind of like exercising every day. You have to do it in order to stay strong. And if you don't do it, you'll atrophy and become weaker unless you've got awesome genetics, which I don't have. Sorry, mom and dad. I'll get that refund from you one day in the future.
Yeah.
How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, the idea of non-value added but necessary, I struggled with that when I was first introduced to that phrasing. And so lately for me, it just lands better in my head if we call it incidental work, right? Like it just has to be done. It's very unlikely and extremely challenging to remove it. Um, it's not value add, but it has to be done in order to get to the next step, right? Or
Right.
to transform the information, to transform that material. This has to be done. And so when I started thinking of it in terms of incidental work, like, well, it's just got to be done, then it helps me focus on how do I stabilize this process or this system so that I can clearly see what the incidental is, label it as incidental, which further helps me delineate what's waste and what's value, and let's go get rid of that damn waste so I can do more value.
Absolutely. 100%. And one of the things that in our work, Jesse, is working in the construction industry, and this is true inside of general contractors, design houses, trade partners, and even in the supply chain, there are going to be policies that companies have in place that at one point in time it made total sense that this should be a rule. And at some companies, all of their policies are written in red ink because it costs somebody money at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But the world keeps changing.
Yes.
And so a policy that we've had maybe even for 2 years, now with a global pandemic doesn't make sense. And that policy that people were following was actually causing waste where you weren't getting to that value added step. So sometimes think about that. And ladies and gentlemen, policies can be written, known, and they can be culturally silent, but you know what they are when you cross that line.
Yep. Felipe, as I heard you talking, I'm going to take a wild guess at what you were referring to, which is kind of a hot debate in a lot of places around work from home, work in the office, or a hybrid option. And so when I think of that, like me getting up and commuting to wherever is complete waste. Now, pre-pandemic, it was incidental.
Yeah, you didn't
Right?
even question it.
Right, whatever.
No
Now,
question. That's what you
like,
grew up into.
You got it. But now, with the new constraint that came upon us, it helps surface that opportunity.
Right.
Now, I do recognize, you and I being in construction, there are occasions when we do need to travel and be present, right? Because we got to go to the floor, we got to go to the slab to see what the hell's going on so we can help. But that doesn't happen all the time. So if it doesn't happen all the time, we got these fancy computery things, right? And these fancy phony things that we can have the damn conversation and have the meetings. And I don't have to waste 30, 45, 90 minutes driving somewhere. It's totally waste. It's totally redefined that.
Completely. And the facts, for those of you that are on the fence thinking like it's a debate, and when you're gathering the information to consider this, there are 1 million unfilled jobs in the United States right now. There are forecasts I just saw in Harvard Business Review this week, Jesse. They're predicting 49% of workers in the United States are going to change jobs this year.
Huh.
Half.
Hmm.
And there's also, I think there's in construction, there's a shortfall of labor. I saw some battles on LinkedIn earlier this week or last week about people debating on modularization and prefabrication in order to help shore up the labor shortage. Ladies and gentlemen, the labor shortage is already upon us. It was with us before COVID, and it's only been exacerbated with the pandemic. We had too few workers going in to 2020, and we still have too few workers in 2021.
Yes.
We need more construction workers, Jesse.
We do. And at the same time, we And when I say we, I want to be very specific. Leaders of organizations, leaders of job sites, leaders of trade partners, we need to become more compassionate about the waste that is in the work and the tasks that are designed into the task. And we need to start attacking that stuff. And one, in honor and in respect of our trade partners, but also to be responsible with that resource. We do not have time. There's just not enough people to be jerking around doing burdensome, painful, uncomfortable work. We can't do it. But our workers are focused on production. Our leaders need to remove that from them. They need to remove the burden from the work. And I know 8 waste, a lot of us, we're very familiar, mostly familiar with the 8 waste. And that's important and that's good. But we need to go a little bit deeper. Go watch, go study somebody working. And every time they kind of wince a little bit or take a deep breath or kind of rub their brow before they go back to the task, that is an indicator that that work hurts. And we are equipped to do something about it. We got to get to that level, man, in order for us to combat this labor shortage that, like you said, we've been swimming in this bad boy for 20 years. That's why I picked being a plumber. In 1995, I saw a little slide that said the average age of a plumber in Texas is 46 years old. And for every 2 going out, there's only 1 coming in. And I did quick Jesse math. And the outcome was I'm going to make a buttload of money if I just stay here.
I love that comment. I did quick Jesse math. That's going to be another Jesseism. Jennifer, if you're out there listening, there's another one to add to your list of things that Jesse says.
Jesseism, baby.
Jesseisms. Yeah, I saw some research from the Construction Industry Institute, Jesse, and they were talking about just looking at the average age of construction workers. A few years ago, it was about 36. This is across all trades, union and non-union.
Yep.
And now today we're headed towards the average age being 46 in a couple of years.
Ooh, baby.
That's a 10-year jump. And they said that as people remove themselves from construction, that number is going to just shift even higher.
Yep.
And that's not sustainable. Like, people are not coming in at a pace to keep up with the demand and even the infrastructure needs just to keep things operating. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jesse here to tell you that we love construction. We can do something about it. And we think that lean is one of the first ways. I mean, just look at the scroll. I mean, what am I scrolling down here? I'm not giving you, I'm giving you one of the ways to make it better and attract more people in here. Yeah. I mean, Darlene said more. So let's give her some more. Let's go back to this for let's go to the punchline. The thing that this question, when I was getting started with lean, this is the one where I just was like, bam, right head right to the hand to the head. Like, how did I not see this? The first thing we need to understand when we're working and you're adopting lean thinking is, who am I doing this for? And to what level of done do they need it? That answers the question of value-added work, either for the ultimate user of the building project, the civil work, the infrastructure project, the software implementation supporting the construction project, the people in the accounting generating a report to help the business leaders understand, do we need to hire more people? Do we need to train more people? All of those things. Step back and ask, is this value added? And then for people on construction projects, you can just think simply, if the owner knew I was doing this and would make an ugly face at me if they caught me, it's probably not value added, and I should think twice about doing it. So just answering that question for yourself, what is value added for the customer and for yourself too? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Box should be checked for you. Jesse, if you and I could not check that box, we wouldn't be live right now.
You got it. No go. Yep.
No go.
Yep. I'm going to share a cheat code because it's a learning that I had due to many, many missteps. In my head, when we talk about value add, we're talking about, the language that I hear is value added to the customer. And so in my head, that translated to my boss, the project manager, the GC, the client. And now, like you said, you ratted me out. I'm with the GC folks now. It's very easy to think and only think of the client as the customer. So here's the cheat code. The cheat code is this: your customer is the person that is directly in front of you, the person or the entity or the task that happens immediately after you execute your task. And when you understand what that next step, the value is for that next step, and do everything you can to fulfill that, you're going to get some damn good momentum. So what it's going to require, though, is a little bit of a shift in thinking. The customer is not always the client. And more importantly, you've said it, Felipe, guess what? You are the customer too. So we have our customer hat and we have our deliverer hat, and we take them off interchangeably in the workspace, hell, just in life in general. So I want to challenge folks out there. The customer is not just the client. It is the damn person in front of you that is the most important person, and do everything you can to serve them, and you're going to unlock all kinds of goodness, baby.
Yeah.
Watch out.
I like that, Jesse. So yeah, just to recap where I got started, and Jesse, you got to tell me. So for me, I got challenged, respectfully challenged, almost told like, don't do this unless you want your life to continue to be dreadful. And the way that it was not like, there wasn't a smile on my face when the conversation was had. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm smiling now, and I've been smiling, and I love that it put me on a path of continuous learning, which I equate to being lean. And all the people that I've talked to, Jesse, and you've talked to people that have been after it for a while, other mentors as well. That's the common thread here. If you embark on this lean journey, all you're doing is committing to being human. Human beings, Jesse, we're highly adaptive creatures.
Yes.
So that's how I got started. You don't have to read a book. You should listen to myself and Jesse on our shows, because this is the type of nuggets where we drop these nuggets every week. Between the two of us, you've got years worth of content to pick up on. Hello.
Yeah, we got to make it rain, baby.
And people do give us the feedback that the things that we're talking about, this little concept will translate. For me, Jesse, it translated into gaining 40 hours back for myself every week.
Yeah.
What was that worth? I finally had time to see my family again, talk to my friends again, and do a phenomenally good job. I could do both.
Yep.
I just had to learn a couple of things, and just seeing my work, even to this day, these glasses, you can't tell, Jesse, these are special glasses that see red, yellow, and green. Even now, baby.
I love it.
Let me keep these on so that I can continue to see. So how about you, Jesse? What was the impetus for you to start your lean thinking, lean practicing?
You know, it's a little bit of a long road, but I'll put it as concisely as I can. I was working for TD Industries, and I hired on with them as a plumber. This was back in like, man, I don't know, 99 or 2000. And I got promoted to foreman. And they said, here's some paperwork you got to fill out, the weekly work plan and a 6-week plan. And so because I thought like it was mandatory, I would fill them out. What happened, my 16-hour days, because I was still trying to figure out how to be a damn foreman. But as a result of using those documents to write down my plan, like what is the task, what's specific and measurable, right? What's the activity, specific and measurable activities? What are my make ready needs? What do I need in order for us to execute those tasks? And what's my target? When do I intend to do that work? It would always force some deeper thinking. And so all of a sudden, I wasn't running to the supply house 4 times a day. I wasn't calling United Rental at 6 p.m. saying I need 3 scissor lifts tomorrow at 7 a.m. Like the crises started going away. Then I started working on my 6-week plan, thinking about things way further out. And like you mentioned at the top of the show, what that created was some bandwidth. I went from 16 hours a day to 12 hours a day to 10 hours a day. And it was a little weird because honestly, I missed I was going through withdrawal from the chaos. I didn't have chaos anymore. It's like, what the hell's going on, man? I need some drama in my life. So from there, because I had that added bandwidth, I was able to share some of my thinking and some of the little tricks that I learned with my team. And so their performance elevated. And so then we started kind of delivering, like we were executing. So I got more responsibility, and the company further invested in me. And then I got introduced to the Last Planner system. And then I was like, oh my goodness, like this is it. Like I could see all the pieces now. And it was something that I could, like, I didn't have to create it and I could pass that on to other people. So I dove into that. And of course, same thing. So it's important to note that when I got into plumbing, my aspiration was only to whoop everybody else's ass. I just needed to be the top performing plumber, period. That's all I wanted to do. Foreman, same thing. I just want to smoke all the other foremen. Now, as a result of diving in, and like you said, the continuous learning coupled with the continuous action, right? I've got to put my learning into action. What that's resulted in is now, yes, what we're, dude, I travel the world, not the world, I travel the country helping people, helping them make their day suck less. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought about doing the job I do now. I could never even have described it. But because I continued down that path, it unlocked a potential within me that I was not even aware of. And it continues to do that. My career, if you follow my career path, it makes absolute no sense because it's not a straight line. There's no like career path that would say, if you do this, you end up here. But it's, again, pursuing my curiosities, committing to the learning and the practice that got me to where I'm at. But it started with the 1-week plan and a 6-week plan.
I love that, Jesse. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time Jesse and I have for you today. I just want to say very special thanks to my guest, Jesse Hernandez.
Peace.
Today's topic was where to get started with lean thinking. We love that. Get started. Just get out there, everybody. Let's go build something. See y'all.